Thank you, and hello, everybody. First off, I just want to say again hi to the people in the room I'm in. Hello, from Chris, Doc Jr., Sir Gerald, Sir Royce T, and I just want to say it is a lovely Saturday night for another session with the Kyoshis, especially uh, this Kyoshi. We just had an interview this Wednesday. Without further ado, let me introduce to you Doc Jr. Hilario. Hi, Doc. Good evening.
Hi, Matt. Thank you so much for once again having me here. But this time around,
Yeah,
I'm the one presenting. Okay, and
that is
also I'd like to thank everyone, Chris, Sir Gerald, and also Royce for being with me. And hopefully, Miss Risa will be able to join us as we go on with our discussion
mhm.
this evening. So this evening we have I find this really very interesting topic. Also, this is a very basic one. That's why I called it back to basics because I think you
Mm.
can proceed with anything like about personality development or personality determination if you don't have any idea about this one. And in fact, this one has helped a lot. With me as I struggle with myself and also as I go through my personal development activities. So right now I'll be sharing my slide.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me just resize. Okay, share slides. Okay, one moment. Slides. Okay.
All right. While we're
Okay.
waiting for top slides, why don't you give everyone a short background on who Doc is, Matt?
Yeah. Uh, did you just ask me, Chris,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
we talked about last time?
What?
About last time?
No, I mean just to give everyone a background on Doc JR's background as he
Yeah.
sets up the slide. Yeah.
So for everybody watching, me and Doc here just did an interview last Wednesday, this Wednesday, and we talked about and touched on topics that how he began to build his concepts and he's been in these works for 12 years now for anybody watching, and he started with two things in mind to improve. Now he did mention that last time he looked at his work for himself. This was a more personal approach to what we're going to be partaking in tonight. So two things that led him to be more focused on, which is communications and leadership.
And
And what
if you're
that
ready, Doc, you can feel free to just share your screen. Yeah,
yeah.
when you're ready. Yeah,
And
Matt.
yeah, one more thing before we go to the slides, the show. One thing I noticed that was of showing from the 12 years of experience of Doc is it is of significance that when you really get a good hang of control in your communications and leadership skills, you can transfer ideas eloquently. So take it away, Mel. Thank you.
Okay. So I hope everyone can hear me. And yeah, there you go. There's my slide showing. So this evening, as I said, we'll be talking about the four types of temperament. And actually, this one is being confused as well with the word personality. But I actually use the word temperament because personality and temperament is actually different. And actually, temperament comes first before personality. So before we proceed with the four types of temperament that we are going to discuss, I will let me share to everyone first a little background or about my story on why this topic has been very significant to me. So when I was a kid, actually, I am very shy, very weak, very pessimistic. I have a very gloomy personality. I am very asocial. I shy away from people. I am awkward. I think even until now I am awkward, and for that reason, and sometimes if I'm alone, since I'm a loner, the more I spend time alone, because before I'm not I don't oblige myself talking to people. I usually just ruminate on my own feelings and on my own thoughts. Now the problem is that if you keep sulking, or you keep your if you have problems, if you have negative emotions inside, and you just isolate yourself, the more you isolate yourself, the more you develop negative thoughts. That's the problem that had happened to me before. So there you go. I have a gloomy personality, as you can see here, and the more I spend time alone, the more I develop negativity within me. And given that I'm still young before, I am clueless on some things that I would like to question. Why am I like this? Why are the people like that? Are they better? Why is it that I'm not like them? The more I am getting confused, and the more I try to start to compare with other people, and so I get envious about other people, about how they are doing their life, with how they react with other people, about their behavior, and the more I get more negative, and to the point that I develop angst. I became more angry, not only to other people, but more importantly, to myself, because I don't have any idea about what is happening. And I think that my inclination would be just to blame myself. Why am I such a loser? Why am I so negative? Why am I so asocial? Why am I so shy? Why am I clueless? Something to that effect. So, do you any of you have experienced that negative uh, childhood before, or um, any negative thoughts about yourself
Yeah,
before?
it,
Okay, yeah, thank you so
it
much,
has
man.
happened.
So, okay, so I well, it's right now good that it feels reassuring that it's just not me alone experiencing this one, but I could have hoped that I have heard other people as well, that this kind of situation is not only happening to me, but as well to other people. But well, it's not too late. And as I brew the negativity within me, the more I hate other people, and the more I hate myself, and I blame myself more than I blame other people. And to the point that I became suicidal. Actually, I have suicidal attempts when I was a kid. So somehow I was able to survive those situation, and I was able to continue with my studies, and that it didn't impede me with my more or less my daily life. I just continue on living, and then finishing my study, and until sometime I was able to graduate in college. So until then, I have no idea what is wrong with me. I think one of the problem is that I am also a, what you call this, um, late bloomer, and also I have this. I'm not very accepting of the idea, because I'm a very pessimistic person. So I don't readily accept new ideas, and I think that's the reason also that I am a late bloomer, and also since I have a slow grasp on information, I tend to not understand many things, and I would be understanding them at the later part of my life, until lately. So anyway, that's my story when I was a kid. So that's why this particular topic is very significant to me as a person. And I am hoping that as we discuss this topic this evening, many people who are with me right now, who are sharing the same predicament, and for those who are listening this live right now, would be able to relate with the story. And I would like to tell them that at least you don't you are not alone in this kind of predicament. Many people are also, including myself, have experienced this one, and it's okay. It's normal to be like that. And the good thing is that you can do something about it, as long as you understand what you are going through. So anyway, before we I present to you the four kinds of personality. Uh, can someone tell me the difference? Okay, I'll just present to you anyway. There you go. Before we get confused about temperament, personality, and attitude, I think these three things are getting interchanged with each other. Temperament and personality is getting exchanged with each other the same way with personality and attitude. So first of all, let's define what temperament is. So it is temperament is described as inherent. I think that's the word for it that would differentiate from others. So these are inherent traits that determine how someone reacts to their environment. So this is something that is not changeable. Whatever temperament that you have right now, it will remain with you as you until until you die. So this is opposed to personality, wherein this is actually acquired. So the more you socialize, the more you interact with other people, the more it is being affected. Our personality is getting affected. So more or less, this is a combination of quality or the characteristic of any individual. I think this one was last time presented by Ken last week. So he was able to share to us the ocean. Let me go back at it again. What you call this: the openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. But anyway, I'll just have a quick recap on those five, so that more or less we'll have a grasp of what personality is. But as said by Kenneth Kagang, it is quite hard to understand personality. You have to go through a test. Actually, it's the same goes with temperament, but we'll not be doing those actually because it's also it's not practical to do here on live, and it's actually 100. I think 100 item test for you to be able to know your temperament, and I think the same goes with the personality test. And lastly, anyway, before we proceed, attitude. So sometimes not only the temperament and personality is being interchanged, the personality and attitude is also being interchanged. So as opposed to personality, attitude is a way of thinking. So belief or an emotion of an individual. So the common thing about personality and attitude is that both of them are can be acquired. However, I think attitude is more temporary than and also subjective. Attitudes are more subjective than personality.
Yeah, talk.
To make it
Oh,
yes, yes,
hello. Oh
yes,
yeah, I wanna try my understanding. Parang is it correct if I say like from left to right, like the leftmost, so temperament is the one that's most permanent
basic.
in you. Yeah, most
Yeah,
basic in you. Yeah, and
yeah,
then attitude is the one that's most flexible in
yes,
your I don't know behavior or how you relate to people or
yes,
the
yes,
environment. Yeah, yeah.
correct.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Mm. To make
Personality
it
is like the middle. Yeah.
right, to make it to specify more on that, I would be saying that temperament is innate or
Mm,
unchangeable.
yeah.
Personality can be changed. They can change over time depending on how you interact with other people, and it depends on many factors such as influences.
Mm,
So your family, your environment, your learning at school, so they can actually bend your personality the same way with your attitude. So to make it more specific with attitude, I think there are three types of attitude that I have. As I said, it's very subjective. Attitude can be very subjective. For example, I can be nice to Chris and not be nice to Royce, if you know what I mean,
bakit
because
ako
that's
joke?
attitude can be very subjective, and I think I was able to find here a classification of attitude, and they can be classified into three things to give more clarity as we discuss on
Mm,
these three things, and that is the number one, positive attitude, negative attitude, and the neutral attitude. So for the positive attitude, we have the confidence, optimism, sincerity, and reliability. These are the traits that represent the positive attitude. And for negative attitude, we have the hatred, pessimism, resentment, and doubt. So these are the negative attitude. And lastly, the third type of attitude is the neutral type of attitude. And
mm,
examples of these traits, the indifference and the detachment, which makes a person really neutral, just not just not taking any sides. So I think that is something that we had observed during the election. Some of us are very invested into which candidate we are both would like to vote, and some of us are just detached. Well, for example, I myself is very detached. I have a neutral attitude during the campaign because government employee. I can't just take any sides. There you go. So I hope I was able to clarify these three things: the temperament, personality, and attitude. Just if you have any question, everyone, you can just maybe comment on our Facebook Live, or anyone can just send a message here on our chat. So thank you so much, everyone. And we'll continue now with the four types of temperament. So these are number one, choleric, yan, melancholic, yan, sanguine, and phlegmatic. I think phlegmatic or phlegmatic. I forgot how to pronounce it properly, the fourth one. But
Sanguine yata.
okay,
One.
sanguines. Yeah, yeah, I think sanguine.
Sanguine. Yeah.
Sanguine ba? Okay, just correct me if I'm wrong. So
I
okay,
think that's right. Yeah, sanguine.
Sanguine.
sanguines.
Oh.
Okay, so that's choleric, melancholic, sanguine, and phlegmatic. Okay, so we will now more or less so that we will have an idea of this. Anyway, can I ask those who are with me right now if which one do you think which temperament do you have of these four? So
Definitely choleric.
for Chris, do you think which
Yeah, definitely
Based
choleric.
on the picture.
choleric? Yes, based on the
Based on the
picture,
picture.
Me,
I
I'd
think
say phlegmatic.
flag phlegmatic.
Yeah,
Phlegmatic
Okay,
looks the most stoic to me.
it's supposed to
the
be
one
when I saw it.
the one
Yeah.
who doesn't care at all, the one who's just cool, phlegmatic. Choleric. Chris is choleric. How about you, Royce? How do you feel about yourself?
Wait. I feel like I'm choosing between sanguine and phlegmatic.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Like
actually,
I feel
that's
like, yeah, if I am just based on, this is just based on the picture. Maybe if I feel like, yeah, stoic on some days, it's phlegmatic. If I feel
mm,
it's a good day, it's sanguine because it looks like angry, happy, sad, and neutral. It's just and again, disclaimer, that's just on the pic, ha. So
yeah, true.
Doc JR will explain more naman.
And
Right.
comment what you think you are, right? If you think you're
Hmm?
choleric, say choleric. If you're melancholic,
Yeah.
comment melancholic,
Just
right?
comment
Yeah.
if what temperament do you have? And Sir Gerald, what do you think is
Yeah,
your
yeah, I
temperament?
think
Looking
uh,
at the picture.
I'm last kasi I was looking at Google. I don't know the meaning. Pero I saw one, no? I think I'm phlegmatic.
Phlegmatic. So
Yeah.
we have a choleric, which is Chris. Sir Gerald is phlegmatic. Um, phlegmatic is Matt is also phlegmatic. Sanguine and phlegmatics for Royce. Correct.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Si
that's
Riza rin pala,
ay
melancholic, sanguine. Si
oh
Riza, nag-comment siya.
Risa. Melancholic sanguine. Ah, okay. So anyway, that's somehow
One.
that's correct. No, it's actually possible that you can have two of this and of this personality because you can only have, as I said, you can only have one dominant. We can have one
Mm.
dominant temperament, but still there is a second one, which is also second temperament, a minor, a second which is quite minor than the first one you have chosen. So anyway,
Mm.
we'll just define this one, each of this, so that we'll have more clarity on which temperament each one have. So first one, we have the choleric one, the angry one. So this was represented by yellow bile. Looking at the which really resonate to the attitude of the person here at the picture. So you can more or less this person is looking like this because choleric people are very active, so they actually are very optimistic as well. However, they are also impulsive, very changeable, very unpredictable, and very excitable. And also, they are also very aggressive. So if there's someone who will be more or less, if the teacher would be asking for someone's opinion, they will be the one to raise their hands first. And also, they are very restless. You can make them stay quiet at the one corner of the room, and also they're very touchy. So how true is that, Chris, with you? Since you said that you are choleric.
Tanong, go,
Because
go,
of my
Chris.
fear of what's the word I'm looking for, of legal stuff. I am not touchy. Joke lang.
Pero this one, this trait actually, do you feel that it
Yeah,
resonates with you?
yeah,
Most
definitely.
of it. Okay,
Definitely.
sige, sige. So that's good.
May, I have a question, JR. Like,
Yeah,
yung sa
okay.
choleric, ano ba to? Prone to rants ba to?
Well, yeah, I think so. Because they have very unpredictable attitude, and they're very well. As I said, if you would ask for their opinion, they actually, you won't even have to ask because they
Yeah,
will be the one raising their. There you
I
go.
was with that. Do
They're proactive.
we even give consent?
They don't need consent if they want to say something. Ayun. So we will proceed now so that we will know if Chris' decision will change. Okay, so the second one is melancholic. So melancholic people is actually represented by black bile, and by this color, of course, the traits also represents its color, which is color black. And here are the traits. Yeah, melancholic people are quiet and sociable, just like myself, how I described earlier. Very reserved. Yun. So I think I really actually highlighted here. I put it caps lock so that to reiterate that melancholic people are especially reserved. They are also very pessimistic. So you can say that they're visionary people, sober, rigid. So it's like if there is an instruction, they will follow that instruction by the book. And also they're very anxious, and that really represents me because I'm always anxious. I have anxiety as well, and also very moody. So actually, this resonates with me well. Definitely, this is my temperament. Who else feel that they have this kind of temperament? No, just
Si...
myself.
I remember si Riza, she mentioned melancholic.
Oh, how true
Yeah.
is that, Risa? I think Risa is outside
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lab.
It's in the,
But
she's in the
I
comments. No?
think she took it back
Hindi pala ako
saying
melancholic.
yeah,
Yeah,
melancholic.
I
I
Oh, you're
agree.
not melancholic. You're not
Yeah.
melancholic.
with it.
Anyway, we're just starting. We're just starting
Yeah.
anyway. So
We're
we'll just
exploring
continue.
pa naman. Yeah.
Yes, we'll just continue anyway with the discussion. Next one is sanguine. So this is represented by the blood color red, and sanguine people are actually leader-like, and they're carefree. So they're like social butterflies. So they're very lively. They like to like run around, but they are not like the aggressive attitude, unstable attitude of choleric. They're lively, but they have stable emotion. They're also going, responsive, talkative. So if you have friends that are very active and would like to socialize a lot, then likely they are sanguine. Also, they are na highlight ko siya, they are outgoing person and very sociable. It's like you just met and it feels like you are BFFs already, something to that effect. So these people are the sanguine type of people. So I think someone said, I think Royce,
Yeah.
that's one really resonate with you.
On a good day, sanguine ako.
Okay, okay. I can feel that with Royce actually. Yun. So anyway, we'll continue with the last one. So we have the phlegmatic. So phlegmatic people, I think Sir Gerald said that he has phlegmatic people. Same with Matt. So these people are calm, even tempered, reliable, controlled, peaceful, thoughtful, careful, and ito yung the keyword is passive. They're actually phlegmatic people are actually the opposite of choleric people because choleric people are active and phlegmatic are like passive ones. So if choleric people would like to rant and would like to take up most of the noise in the room, the phlegmatic people will just let the choleric people take the stage and just absorb all the runs, and they will be okay, just peaceful and not mindful of anything what's happening. So that's how neutral phlegmatic people is. So right now, has anyone's opinion of themselves already changed, considering the traits that we have presented each with each temperament?
Yeah. I'm leaning more talaga most of my day I'm really more on phlegmatic. Parang
Oh, okay.
if I just feel ano lang, if I feel safe to get out of my shell, doon ako.
Okay.
And again, I know naman you said naman temperament, 'di ba? It's not
Mm.
it's more innate. So,
Yeah.
pero
Mm.
yung parang mas default ko yung phlegmatic.
Mm.
Okay. So right now merong si Royce, right, Royce, correct? Royce, no?
Yeah.
Royce is more on phlegmatic, more than sanguine, as he said earlier. And then, how about Chris? Does your opinion of yourself already change, or you're still choleric after reading those
No,
traits?
still choleric.
Still choleric, so
Yeah,
it's
still
already
choleric.
determined. Chris, how about Sir Gerald?
Yeah, as for me, I have other traits coming from melancholic kasi sometimes I'm moody.
Oh, okay.
So
So, but
pero
more on phlegmatic.
yeah, pero I'm more on the side of pragmatic.
Oh, okay. And
How I wish I'm sanguine.
yeah, true, true. And also,
Pero so
lastly,
super perfect kapag sanguine ka.
yeah, yeah, true. But anyway, I must say that actually these four types. Anyway, before I say that, actually these four personalities actually are more or less an opposite of each other. For example, melancholic and sanguine are like polar opposites. So if it's the sanguine is a social butterfly, so melancholic is the asocial one. So if sanguine is very talkative, melancholic is very shy. And the same goes with phlegmatic and choleric. They're also polar opposites. So as I said earlier, if you feel that you have two types of personality, actually that is correct as well. Because it is said that you have one dominant
Mm.
what you call one dominant temperament, and then it will be followed by another one, more or less. So for example,
Yeah,
if
question of
sir, yeah, yes.
sa akin eh. I'm choleric, but I think my sub is phlegmatic, which is
Oh, okay.
opposite, which is the opposite of choleric, right?
Oh, okay. Right, right. But I think that's also anyway. Later we will be checking with our 11th slide. I think that will also determine your your personality depending on the combination of temperament that you have, because the basis of personality is the temperament. Anyway, later after the next slide we will be talking about that one as well, but yeah, it's okay. Anyway, more or less that's the idea on it. And I think also based on someone I met actually, there's also a possibility that there's a combination of these polar opposites. So, for example, if you think that you are melancholic, like myself, I think I'm melancholic, but there are times also that I am sanguine. I think that's also possible because I meet people who would describe themselves as ambivert, or what you call this, omnivert. I think those two terms are the same, ambivert or omnivert. It means
Yeah.
that they're a cross of sanguine and melancholic, more or less. That's how I understand it. And
Mm.
they can actually um, act or behave like a melancholic on some days, and or to some people, but they would also appear sanguine to certain days or to some people. So there is such thing actually, and I googled it. Oh, it really exists. But anyway, we'll
Yeah.
focus on this four. So how do we determine really if which personality do we really have? So the most common one, theoretical one, is to take the test, which, as I said, is not possible because unless you have like 1 hour or at least 30 minutes to sit on the 100 items, then you'll be able to know what more or less temperament that you have. But just like Kenneth said earlier, just like in personality, considering that there will be biases, it's possible that you might get an incorrect result depending on your understanding and also depending on your preference. For example, to myself, Because I really would like also to be sanguine, just like Sir Gerald said. I'm melancholic, but I know I really want to become sanguine. So I have this kind of bias. So sometimes I encircle traits that are actually something that resonates to me, but I encircle. I answer the traits that are opposite because I really want to make the results into something that I want. So this is one of the
Mm.
biases. And sometimes if you are tired, and also if you don't understand the the kind of the characteristic or traits that you are trying to answer, that would also result to biases on the result of your temperament test. So anyway, let's leave it at that. There is something actually I discovered if you want to more or less have an idea of what temperament that you have, and that is this practical one, and that would be your innate reaction in unfamiliarity. So when I said that, I mean you could ask yourself if what will be your reaction if there's a activity and suddenly when there's activity, the groupings tend to be random. So when you are grouped together with a group of strangers, what how would you react? So, for example, anyway, we have people here in the room. So, for example, with Chris, let's start with Chris. If you are grouped together with a group of people, how would you react? What would be your first reaction when you're in that group of strangers?
Depends. Eh. I mean, in what context though?
Okay, so for example, you are you are you are meant to do a certain project or a certain activity. There's activities, there's a from that activity you have to deliver something to the one who organized you. So how would you react to the people? Is it am I clear with my description already?
Yes. Yeah, it's
Okay, how
clear
would you
enough.
what's your first reaction? How would you deal with this situation? Because for me, for example, my reaction would be if I'm with a group of stranger would be as a well without knowing my temperament is, my first reaction would be I will be very silent. I will be cautious because these people might be judgmental
Mm.
if I react first. I will be silent and observing, and would rather have other people act first. And maybe if the situation is favorable and I think the environment is safe for me to act, then I would join the activity or would join the conversation. But if I feel that, oh, it's I feel off, I don't feel okay, then I will just feel silent and maybe feel neutral. So that's how would I react. And that I think that is typical of melancholic people, which is very cautious, very suspecting, very quiet, and also very shy. If not shy, very asocial, just asocial. Maybe you can just say, I would be, I would prefer not to socialize easily if I'm not shy. So that would be my reaction. So how about, yeah, let's go with Chris.
With me, I would size up everyone in the room. I would check who is the most competent in the room, what their skills are, and then decide if what's what I'm looking for, decide who leads or not. Parang ganun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How about if you weren't able to find that particular person who will lead?
I take charge.
Yeah.
Okay. Somehow I also have that actually that inclination that after I observe, I would if every one of us is melancholic, I will really be proactive, and yeah, I will take charge if no one is moving. So
Yeah,
anyway, that's how I will also react. Any more, Chris?
yeah,
Any more
that's
reaction?
pretty much
That's
it.
it. That's
Yung,
pretty much.
pero the key with me is I would be the one to ask first. Eh.
Oh,
So
okay.
yan yung
That
yan talaga. So before sizing people up, I size them up with questions.
yeah. I
So
will
yun.
not ask people who will. I will not
Yeah.
ask. I think that's uh, a reaction of how choleric will react on that particular situation. So yeah, thank you so much, Chris. How about Sir Gerald? How will you react on that particular situation if you're put together with a group of strangers?
In reality, usually I just more on the observing part kasi sa side ng I do some observations first before I engage with other people. I have trust
Oh,
issues also kasi I don't know these people, and
mm,
I'm not saying na I'm closing doors kasi parang the trust before I open my doors, parang I wanted
yeah.
muna yung parang is parang I'm more on the safety side, parang ganun.
Oh, right.
Before I open my doors do sa tao. Pero once if I open my door, then tuloy-tuloy pasok ka lang.
Oh, yeah.
My trust will be 100%. Yun lang.
I see. Okay, so I think that pretty much resonate with the choice that you have. I think between melancholic and phlegmatic as well. I think those are the reaction of those two types of temperament as well. And I guess we can also ask with Royce. Yeah,
Yeah,
Royce.
ako default ko, I don't actually observe. Ano ako eh, yeah, very, and I'm remembering myself as a student, like student days ko talaga, kasi I wasn't into any of this talaga, any personality or personal growth. Like my default really is, I'm just super focused on the task. So
Oh,
task, I like the term like task oriented na parang, okay guys, let's do step one. Like who can help with step one? Okay, we're done. Okay, what's step two? Parang I don't even care who's in my group.
oh,
I would just act the same way all the time. Parang I'm just focused on, okay, here's the homework. Okay, uh okay, can we split the task? Okay, you do A, you do B, you do C. Sige, let's go home and let's just upload on the Google Docs or
oh,
something. That's it. So I don't really, yeah, I don't size people up. It's usually na lang afterwards that I sense, or I start seeing na parang, why didn't you upload yet? What's the hang up? It
oh,
was, maybe because that sometimes happens. It was like some people might procrastinate, or some people will finish early, some people will submit like cutting close because they procrastinate. Ako guilty ako sometimes with that. So yeah,
most of
that's
us.
my, yeah, that's my
Okay.
reaction. That's how I usually do it. Ngayon, actually I'm still learning. Pero nagbago ko, I think nagbago ko after getting into personal growth. Actually, that's still something for me to learn. I still don't really observe so much. Mine is just more on, I try to be more outgoing lang with people. So parang, hi guys, okay, well, let's do. I focus more on like being on raising the energy bit. But that's not my natural reaction. Parang that's like soft skills I picked up na along the way. Parang ganun.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah,
Somehow feel that Royce is between, well, you being leader like. I think you demonstrated the characteristic, the traits of being leader like, which is listed under the sanguine.
sanguine.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but also I think it could also be somehow choleric as well. I think
Ah,
that's how I feel. But those are just my observation based
yeah,
on
impressions
your
naman. Yeah.
impression. That's all just my impressions. Yeah. And lastly, I think Matt can also maybe give his opinion. So if you're put in a group of people, of strangers, how would you first react? What would be your first reaction?
Um, Firstly, I'm glad that I went last to answer this question, Doc. No, Doc here. Is because first, yes, I'd like to size up the room. Because I like to just, I don't know, emphasize or the energy of who I'm with. I actually have a story to share with you guys here. So I was like a few years ago. I was in Butuan, Mindanao. I was in a leadership camp called the Essence of Change, and I was grouped with similarly in league people. And although there is where you come from, who you come from, then there's energies there that, oh, this person or this executive or this person is much much better than that one. But nonetheless, I was grouped with random people that came from their mentees, and I when we were partnered, we were like, I can't remember the exact title of the task, but we were asked to make a chant, like any chant. So when I
Check.
got into group with these people, like more or less we were 10. Um, I that you guys were Chris. I'll agree with Chris here. If no one's taking charge, I'll take charge. But how I'll do it is like, hey guys, I understand the objectives we've been given, and I think this is you ever. I start describing scenes and scenarios where I think we'll win, and by acting out, and from there, um, maybe I'm trying to get a sense of there's an agreement, a majority of agreement, and if it's all good, then and I feel everybody's up for the challenge, enthusiastic about it too, and we're aligned with it's gonna work. We get to work, and I'd like to say we won making that chant. We did like
Oh,
mhm, like like from the Wolf of Wall Street, and then we transitioned into more helping the energy come out. So I'm very helpful, and I'd like to find an avenue for inserting what I think could work. Um, After I hear everybody out, I guess. So yeah, thank you, though.
okay. I think I was actually picturing myself out with Matt doing that. I think it's really fun, and I think you'll feel fulfilled after that activity. I think that was super fun, and also a great memory to recall. But anyway, thank you so much, Matt. And I think I
Yeah.
am making impression based on this observation, whether you are proactive with your reaction, or you are cautious. So I think if you are proactive, you are more inclined towards choleric and sanguine. But if you are cautious with your reaction, on that group, you are more or less inclined towards phlegmatic and melancholic. So I think more or less that would somehow give you a direction on which personality you will have. So to give everyone um, a better idea of the temperament, also in relation to personality, I'll be sharing you this one. And okay, this one. And I think this is also something that Sir Gerald actually shared during in the
Mm.
group chat, right? So more or less, this is also actually in relation with what Ken presented last time. And yeah, so if you are, as I said earlier, I said that if you are proactive, you are more or less, when I say proactive, you are actually into extroverted, or the one who could start something when meeting strangers. So more or less, if you're extroverted, then you would be having a choleric or sanguine temperament. However, if you are quite cautious or introverted, then likely you will fall between melancholic, phlegmatic, or a cross of those two. So more or less, if two you have this personality which is melancholic and phlegmatic, you are, well, really an introvert person. However, if you're choleric and a cross of choleric and sanguine, for example, Chris is, I think it could be he is choleric, and then he is his second um, personality or temperament is sanguine, then he is extremely extroverted. There you go. And if you
It's
are
choleric and
correct,
phlegmatic.
a phlegmatic. So I think I would take it that there are days, most of the time, you will feel extroverted, and then if your phlegmatic second personality, there will be times that you are also introverted.
Hmm.
Does that make sense to you, or does that resonate with your
Yeah, pretty
observations
much.
of yourself?
Ambivert. Ambivert naman talaga.
Ambivert. All
Yeah.
right, so there you go.
Leaning
Also,
towards extro. So,
yeah. So if you are a combination of either this on this right and both a right and left side, you can become an ambivert or omnivert. However, if you are also depends on which temperament that you have. For example, if you are choleric and also melancholic, that would be a that would give you that you have extremely unstable or unpredictable temperament or personality. So, and at the same time, if you are sanguine, a combination of sanguine and phlegmatic, more or less you have a more predictable or stable personality as well. So that's how pretty much this table would explain not only introversion or extroversion, but also how stable one's emotion would be. I will not be dealing with what Kenneth actually you can see here the issues with neuroticism last time that Kenneth also presented, but I guess that's kind of off topic already. That would be good for the next lesson. So I will not be jumping on that already. So lastly, I think after we have anyway, any comments from this table so far,
Yeah,
everyone?
I just want to clear something up with the pyramids. Right? The pyramids are you are born with them, right?
Yeah, yeah, true. You are born with this
Are born with the pyramids.
temperaments. Hmm.
Okay, it's okay. I'll leave it at that. And if you guys want to know more, join us at the post campfire session. So
Yeah.
Yes.
which is
Bef-
way more
all right.
interesting. Way more interesting. I mean, way more crazy. Good.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I
I'd like to add to just summarize everything. I just want to make it a question for everybody who's watching. You know, if you've identified yourself and detailed yourself with one of these four uh, basic temperaments, um, and you feel that the other one that isn't that dominant, the second part of you, most times you feel like you can, activate in moments if you're trying if you're being testy, like you feel like you can test it, that's I think where not knowledge and wisdom is gained a lot more if you test outside your dominant temperament and see um what happens. I think there's a lot of learning there. So um how many of you have tried that? And please do tell in the comment section what it was like, what happened. I think there's a lot of learning there for everybody. So thank you so much, and everybody.
thank you
Oh,
so much,
I
Chris.
just want to clear something. When I say
Uh,
more interesting, the reason why I say more interesting is because if you guys join the post campfire session, you guys can actually talk and ask deeper questions to
Right.
LJ
Mm.
about the topic that we can't really freely share here. Okay, so yun lang.
Absolutely, yeah.
Clearing that.
all right,
Thank you.
Matt, can I have this last slide as well
Please, bye.
to wrap things
Go
up?
ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, we have been talking about this temperaments. Of course, there should be an implication why we have been talking this one. And for me, I think it's very important for us to understand that whatever temperament you have, it is actually not inferior or superior than the other,
Mm.
because in fact these four temperaments actually is complementary to each other. For example, a sanguine person can be very social. However, a melancholic person is usually uh, has a bad impression because they are asocial, such as myself. We can be very detailed. So sometimes the sanguine people can start something, but he will not be able to finish it. And here comes the melancholic who will just finish it, wrap things up for the sanguine. So something like that. These personalities actually are complementing with each other. And so therefore there shouldn't be any judgment for the traits that they have, because one have their own strengths and weaknesses actually. And actually also these strengths and weaknesses actually is something that could be subjective depending on how it is being used. I am actually a firm believer of the two sides of the coin and the yin yang, if you know what I mean. So the yin yang actually principle is that more or less life is composed of negative and positive, the good and bad sides. This one, the circle, is the represents our life, and the white one represent the positive or the good side, and the black one represents the negative or the bad side. However, if you notice, there's also a black dot in the positive part or the good side. That means that anything that is good has also a bad side, a little bad side, and anything that is negative, is being said as negative or maybe bad, could also have a good side. That's why the white dot here. And what I'm saying is in relation to what we have been saying on the traits of the four temperaments is that um, they can be look at the two sides. For example, a while ago I said that melancholic people are very detailed, and that is very important when you are doing analysis. So being detailed is very important for you to analyze better. Now the problem is that if there's too much, if a person dwells too much on its analysis or the details, is that there's what we call that melancholic people sometimes suffer from analysis paralysis, and they can't go on with their lives because they're too focused on analyzing the details, which is sometimes not already practical. So those are the examples. And if we look also at the other traits here, which also resonates to some personal to some traits of the temperaments, they can actually have good and bad sides as well. So we just have to have two perspective of each trait for us to appreciate whether it can be this strength can be turned into weakness, and this weakness can also be turned into strength. Once we're able to do it, and we also know how to determine the temperament of the person, it will be very important for us to know who ourselves, and by knowing ourselves, we will be able to grow and learn more as we go on with our lives. And also knowing the four types of temperaments will be able to for us to be more empathic with other people as well. So that will be part of your interpersonal aspect of your life, that you will have better interpersonal relationship with other people, given that you are more empathic and also can understand other people, knowing what temperament that they have. In fact, these are also very important for teachers, I think, because if sometimes you won't understand kids if you don't know what kind of temperament do they have. Once you know it, then it would be easier for teachers to react better to kids because they understand that they have this kind of temperament, and they would be able to react appropriately as well, knowing the type of temperament this kid have. So anyway, as I said, it's very important for us to know this kind of temperament. To wrap things up, those are the four types of temperaments: sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. Regardless of what kind of temperament you have your own strengths and weaknesses. This is very important for us to know ourselves better and grow and learn, which is very important for our own
Right.
growth and learning, and also when interacting with other people. There you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Doc. And I just want to summarize everything. I'm grateful, and for everybody's watching. What I really love about Doc's session here, that he opened up the four types of basic temperaments and what they look like, how they feel like, so you can recognize more or less the type of person you're talking to. Now, the boundaries of where you are, where you identify yourself, in my opinion, you should stretch out a bit and test out other aspects of this four types of basic temperaments, just to know more about each other and yourself too. In and for leadership and communication sake, I think it's really good to be very well versed in these type of things, because if you know the transitions that happen, you can help people transition to a better state of temperament. And the benefit you get to do with that is, um, you help deal with other people much more better. And I think that's the tool of the trade, talaga, in our business world and in our personal relationships world. So with that being said, I'd like to invite everybody to the campfire session. Now, in there, we're going to be talking a bit more in depth about the leadership question. You can actually ask here, talk with any one of us here. Let's just have, let's just converse and talk about different scenarios where knowing these things can be helpful, and what outcomes could have did happen with us and could happen with you too, if you see that that could be possible for you too. So, with that being said, the campfire link is in the comment section. I hope to see everybody who's watching there. Let's enjoy the rest of the Saturday night with a healthy conversation about communications and leadership and the four basic types of temperance. So, thank you.
Yeah.
With that
Thank
being
you, everyone.
said,
Thank you, Doc.
uh,
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc JR.
Okay,
See you
thank you
guys in
guys
the
for being with
see
us.
you
Good
guys in the
night,
campfire
everybody.
Thank
Post
you.
Yeah.
post
See you then.
campfire.
Bye bye.